When you think of NBA Live, what comes to mind? Recently, the NBA Live name has basically become a meme, as the latest EA Sports NBA games have been subpar. Sure, NBA Live 18 and 19 weren't exactly bad, and even received praise from some for ignoring microtransactions and offering a cheaper and more accessible experience than its competitor 2K. But it's undeniable that most people would prefer to play the recent NBA 2K games. Combined with the series being on hiatus, and EA's terrible run starting with NBA Elite 11, the words NBA Live don't really get people excited anymore. There was a time, however, when NBA Live was not only respected, but on top. Before EA started fumbling the bag, 2K was actually behind Live. Back in the glory days of sports gaming, NBA Live was great. To many, NBA Live 2005 is actually considered to be the greatest basketball video game ever made. You see, back then, in 2004, Live 05 offered more than just a 5-on-5 basketball game. This game had depth, it had layers. It's probably most known for its incredible representation of the slam dunk contest. While the regular NBA exhibition games were great, with sound gameplay that leaned slightly towards the arcade side, it was the ability to perform 720-degree slams, windmills, and between-the-leg dunks that would make Vince Carter proud. Let's be honest, everyone wants to dunk. That's a dream nearly every kid has. This game gave you adrenaline. You felt the rim and backboard shake. The roar of the crowd filled you with a rush, a high. This was a game that, for many, defined their childhood. This was the greatest NBA Live of all time. While the dunk contest made this game iconic, that game mode alone is not what put Live 05 in the GOAT conversation. Like any great NBA player, it was multi-dimensional. Gameplay, arguably the most important part of any sports game, was so good it was frightening. It was fluid and it was fast. The freestyle dribbling controls were vastly improved over Live 04, and only the top ball handlers could use the flashiest moves. In previous Live games and other basketball games, anyone could cross someone over, such as Yao Ming. Not in this game. This change made players like Allen Iverson feel true to life. Since this game was created during the very beginning of online gaming, the CPU had to be competitive and smart. They couldn't get away with having awful AI, such as what you'd see in a modern Madden title. In Live 05, players will actually pass the ball around to find an open man, shoot off the dribble, and even take mid-range jumpers. In previous Live titles, the computer basically only dunked or shot threes. Not in this game. The advanced AI was important for bringing the NBA to life and adding replayability. No friends around to play with? Hop into this game's epic Dynasty mode and you'll still have a fun and challenging experience. Speaking of the Dynasty mode, it was pretty dang good for 2004. After receiving criticism for the lackluster version of the game mode in Live 04, EA went to work. The mode now runs through a calendar and time is actually a thing. This was very innovative and was a pretty great idea for making Dynasty mode feel realistic. Want to trade for a player? Submit a proposal to the other team and the agent representing the player you want, and then wait a few days for them to think it over. This prevented users from jumping into the mode and instantly trading and signing 20 players and turning over their entire roster in seconds. While yes, that can be fun, it's not exactly realistic. It was refreshing to have to build a team with a new, more patient approach. Free agency was improved, as players now took multiple factors into account when choosing a team to sign with. Some players might sign with a different team for less money if it means they will have a better chance at getting a ring. EA also tweaked the CPU GM AI. No longer could you fleece teams for their star players. Trades were actually pretty difficult, which made successful ones feel a lot more rewarding. This was the only NBA game at the time that had this advanced of an AI in Dynasty or franchise mode. You want to trade for LeBron James? too bad. Why would Cleveland do something that dumb? They wouldn't. Simheads like myself love that realism. As you play through your Dynasty mode, you earn points that you can spend on upgrading players, unlocking throwback uniforms, and even unlocking new shoes. You can even use your points on scouting. Basically, you'd send a scout across the world from Europe to Africa to Asia, trying to uncover the next hidden superstar. The more points you used, the better the scouts would be. You can even invite these young players to your facilities and test their skills with one-on-one games against one of your team's players, and you can choose who you want to control. This way you can see how they feel to play with, or how good they are at defending your own team, as a rival might pick them up instead. Something like this is kind of insane for a game from 2004. You don't even see that kind of depth in franchise modes today. Circling back to the gameplay, we cannot ignore how many player-specific animations there were. In a PS2 era game, developers didn't have much memory to work with. You could only fit so much into a game, unlike today where possibilities are basically infinite. Despite the technical limitations, EA went off. Tracy McGrady had his signature smooth dunks, while the CPU Kobe doesn't really pass the ball. Shaq has his own powerful one-handed slam animations, while Ray Allen has the smoothest three-point shot and exudes confidence whenever he has an inch of space behind the three-point line. And good luck trying to score on Ben Wallace and the Pistons. In 2004, this was crazy for a sports video game. The ultimate highlight of this game has to be the AllStar Weekend, however. This game easily has the best representation of the dunk contest ever seen in a video game. You can choose any player you want with at least an 80 overall dunk rating to participate, and you can even play with up to 4 players, making this essentially an epic party game with friends. In the practice mode, there are actually thousands of different dunk combinations you can try out, but when you have to perform for real, with friends around you, with the crowd on their feet, with the clock ticking, it makes you nervous. It really helps put you in the perspective of an actual NBA player in the actual dunk contest. It's a lot harder than it looks. With the commentary of Ernie Johnson and Kenny the Jet Smith bashing you if you try a boring or safe dunk, the environment gets in your head. It's awesome. Throw the ball off of the Jumbotron, your own head. Do a handspring into a windmill, 720 reverse, no scope, you name it. You can pretty much do anything. Even if you don't care for the NBA or sports or 5-on-5 gameplay or any of that stuff, this game was worth buying, simply for the dunk contest alone. The AllStar Weekend mode also had a 3-point shootout, rookie and sophomore game, and of course, the actual All-Star game, which was surprisingly different from regular games. Gameplay was faster, and crazy dunks and deep threes were much easier to perform. It actually played differently and resembled an actual All-Star game. That is what I like to call attention to detail. This was the first live game to have unique faces for literally every single player, and they all had their actual shoes, most of their tattoos, and more. Marv Albert was still in his prime and delivered great commentary. Even the All-Star Weekend had commentary, and it was arguably even better. And of course, this game featured an epic soundtrack that really sets the tone. This game was just an incredible vibe. It retailed for only $39.99. Let that sink in. With the sheer depth of content and hundreds of hours of playing time, it's no wonder why this game was such a hit. And while NBA Live has completely fallen off in recent years, and while 2K continues to get hate for its microtransactions, servers, and gameplay issues, sometimes the best course of action is to dust off the PS2 and pop Live 05 back in. This was a special game, a game that lives up to all the praise it's received over the years. Regardless of what's come out since, transporting yourself back to 2004 with Live 05 might just be more fun. At the end of the day, that's why we play video games, is it not? Thanks for watching.